Hey there, welcome to Just Risa. Here we deep dive into true crime, current events, pop culture, and life's little oddities. Stick around, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for your regular dose of intriguing stories and thought provoking conversations. And remember, always be unapologetically you.
Hello. Hello, hello. I don't know if you can hear me. I am just trying to get all of this going. If you cannot hear me, please let me know. I will hook up my other microphone. That works a little bit better. And I'm surprised. You never know with me. You never know what you're going to get with me. I never know when I'll just pop up. We were planning on doing this earlier. Some things kind of fell through earlier, and I want to get this done. I want to get this out. I want to get this where everybody can know all of the details because, man, you guys are not going to believe me. You are not going to believe me until you actually see it for yourself because this is just that much crazy. Let me know if you can hear me. Sure that my microphone is picking up my sound. So, yes, if you're in my chat, let me know if you can hear me. Yes, I had a accident on the first video and I hit the wrong button. So, yeah, that's what happened. I hit the wrong button and I had to go reset it. Um, because, that's just me. So, we gonna just kind of get us some little move and groove going before we get into the meat and potatoes of what everybody just wants to know, which is all about Smurf and Smurf the Murph the Smurf. And so I just got something special for him before we start.
Sing a happy song. La 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 la. Smurf the whole day long. Smurf along with me. Simple as can be. Next time you're feeling blue, just let a smile begin. Happy things will come to you.
So smurf yourself a grin.
Oh, I hate Smurfs. I'll get you. I'll get all of you if it's the last thing I ever do.
La 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 la. Now you know the tune. You'll be smurfing soon.
There we go again. Yeah, I got some cartoon music for the Smurfs because it was my little joke about calling him that just because we have, if you don't know, Murph stands for Murphy, and we have a pizza place here called Papa Murphy's, which my kids love. And when my son was little, he couldn't say Murphy, so he said Smurf. So it's always been Papa Smurfs. And I made a little joke about that couple months back, and just kind of stuck. And yeah, I call him Smurf because he likes to hang out in chats and use his name twice in a lot of cases. So yeah, I give you a little hint as to some of the things that I know. So I have some questions. What happens when a fake identity, dark narcissistic manipulation, and YouTube monetization collide? What happens when fake identity, a dark narcissistic manipulation, and YouTube monetization collide? And the answer is we get this fake little tangled web of deception. And I have stumbled into this little web of deception the past couple of months. And I had my own little unique role in part of this. And I have discovered some things that to me are very disturbing and just need to be shared so people know, because this is kind of a PSA, a warning, a analysis of some things that I have been watching for quite a while. And I am Risa. If you're on my channel, you know that already. And I advocate for truth, and I expose truth and true identity and the actions that people are using to scam, to spoof, to trick, to manipulate, to spin, all of these things that we're all seeing. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with this. And some things I have discovered about our particular friend that we are covering today is he has been charging people money for psychological analysis off of YouTube. And we know he has come out to have zero credentials that we have seen. And he's still doing this. And I have done a lot of research into this. I have done some voice analysis, some linguistic analysis, cross referencing, reading, um, all kinds of stuff that I have been looking into this certain individual. And what I have discovered is shocking, it's dangerous, and it's potentially criminal. So I want to get that out there. I am not an expert in any form or fashion. I am an independent researcher who came across something that is just too big for me to ignore. So, who is Murph? That is our big question, is who is this? Okay, let me Can you hear me? So what's happening is every time I come up here and do one of these little exposés, somebody like into my system and cut my system off. Yeah, I'm good. So they like to hack into my system and cut my StreamYard off because they don't want you to hear what I'm going to put out. Yeah, there we go. I got it. So if I glitch out like that, it's because they tried to cut out my feed, because some of us are like to hack into people's stuff. I've already had my computer and my phone hacked into once, and this is how we manipulate. This is one of the ways that we like to try to manipulate the internet games on YouTube, is we just try to cut out the feed. Yes. So, in reality, these people are quietly manipulating people behind the scenes. So, here is where my super interesting information comes in. We're going to see if we get cut out again. I have been saying this for over a month. Over a month. Yeah, over a month I have been telling people that Murph is still here, that Murph is still a mod, that Murph is in the middle of things, and that Murph is still trying to control things. And people don't want to listen. And I have said stuff over and over that I don't say something unless I can prove it. So I'm not going to say it if I can't prove it. And I finally have my proof. So I am finally going to expose what I know and what I have been telling people for a while, with my proof, with my evidence, hard evidence you cannot get away from. And I made this video that I'm about to play over a month ago, and it was about this exact same topic. So I'm going to play it for just a little bit. It's pretty short. And then we're going to get down into who our Mystery Murph Man is on YouTube with my evidence. So this is a supernova warning, because we like to play fake psychologist. And I just find this super, super interesting that when I post things, all of a sudden, a few days later, my little buddy Murph, Mr. HG Shooter Man, likes to make videos relating to what is going on and going with me, things that I say, things that I do. And one of those things was about being a supernova super empath, which that is what I am. I am a super empath. I can just tell things. I have always been like this, always, always. Couple weeks ago, somebody was saying something about a spectrum, and they were saying that Maggie was on a spectrum, and I was very confused. I asked some people questions like, "What spectrum are you talking about?" And what they were talking about was a neurodivergent spectrum. It wasn't autistic. When you say on the spectrum, the first thing I think of is autistic, which is part of neurodivergency. But they were talking about being neurodivergent. I myself am a neurodivergent individual. And we will talk a little bit more about that going forward. I notice things that other people don't always notice. I notice things that are not the way that they are meant to be, that they are different than what they're supposed to be. I'm one of those people that I just notice these things. And some of this is stuff I have just been noticing. So here we go. We're going to go supernova. And like I said, I made this over a month ago. I've been ready for this. I just didn't have the evidence until now. YouTube seems like real life. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes the mask starts to slip. One truth about me, I'm what they consider a super empath. And us super empaths, when we see something troubling, when we finally get to where we want to expose truth, we go supernova. So this is your supernova warning.
This content is a creative and thematic commentary intended for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. This video does not accuse or refer to any specific individual or entity. All opinions expressed are general in nature and protected under fair use, free speech, and satire/parody provisions. Viewers are encouraged to think critically and draw their own conclusions.
There are people online who seem wise. They entertain us. They seem to know the truth.
You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
We speak with them every day in chats. But truth? It's been manipulated. You think you know them, these content creators, but the truth is, you really don't. What you're seeing is a carefully crafted illusion. And people in the chats, you know them even less. All you know is a screen name. And those screen names, they're really easy to change. The man you're talking to may actually be a woman. The woman you're talking to might actually be a man. Who knows if they're actually the person they tell you they are? There are even some of us who have been duped by people waving false credentials, saying that they have expertise in one area, and they really don't. You think you know them, but the truth is, you don't. We leave comments like, "Your videos saved my life," heart emoji, and "You're always speaking the truth." Then one critical comment, and you're muted. The next, you're blocked. Then comes the gaslighting. The moment you ask a question, you're out. The second you challenge the narrative, you're silenced. Today, it was 2 seconds after I challenged the narrative. Just want to point that out. It's more than just toxic positivity. It's performative peace, a curative personality cult. Yes, you can be a cult in a chat. And yes, sometimes even manipulation. And the content creators, they just want your attention, your trust. But most of all they want is your money. Make it rain, make it rain. I can sing that too. I don't want your money. In YouTube land, somebody can brand themselves as a truth teller and still be hiding their darkness behind the screen. Friends, this might sound like paranoia, but it's not. This is discernment. And if you feel something's off, that's your intuition doing its job. So friends, protect your peace. Speak your truth. Because us empaths, we aren't dramatic or confrontational, but we're just finally paying attention and finally calling it out.
Oh shit, here we go again.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
So you've been handed the choice. Take the red pill, see the truth, but you might not like it. Or take the blue pill and stay in the comfort of the lies. You might not can handle the truth, but the question is, can you handle the awakening?
Welcome to the real world.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here.
This message is sponsored by Brainwash Shampoo. Brainwash Shampoo, now in its new citrus formula, Keyboard Warrior Citrus. Zesty, aggressive, and always online.
Brainwashed, clean scalp, dirty conscience.
This content is a creative and thematic commentary intended for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. This video does not accuse or refer to any specific individual or entity. All opinions expressed are general in nature and protected under fair use, free speech, and satire/parody provisions. Viewers are encouraged to think critically and draw their own conclusions.
What does the fox say?
So, yes, I made that about a month ago, and I've been saying this for a while. I just didn't have the proof to fully come out until today. Well, yesterday is when I got my full confirmation of my evidence. So, here is what I know about our friend Murph. I have been suspecting for a while that he moonlights on the YouTube streets as HG Tutor. If you are familiar with him and his work, he has his own YouTube channel. For copyright reasons, I'm not going to show any of his content on my channel today because I'm not going to get a copyright strike. But I can tell you what's over there, and I can give you my commentary and opinion. And he claims to be the ultra best in the world narcissist and psychopath. He is a self-proclaimed ultra narcissist and psychopath. Oh, just let you think about that for a second there. Narcissist and psychopath. Self-proclaimed. He's saying it, his words, not me. But with HG Tutor, there's no legal name. There's no license for his psychology work and opinions and advice. There is no clinical or academic credentials listed anywhere on his website, on his YouTube page, or anywhere else that I have been able to find. So if he does have those, he needs to post them because it is getting where you could be legally responsible because you are doing things without being licensed. He accepts $100 from United States dollars per session for advice, which resembles kind of like clinical therapy. You do a screener, and he can tell you if you are a narcissist or an empath. And I don't know much more than you do a screener, and he somehow comes up with his information. Who knows if it's manipulated or not, because he does not have the proper licensing to be doing this. And I would be suspicious if I gave him my information about myself, especially on a psychological level, because as a narcissistic psychopath, you can take that information about me and try to change it and switch it on me and then try to manipulate me or somebody else. So that was a big concern of mine. And despite living allegedly in the UK, both Murph and HG Tutor are from the UK. The pricing on his website is in United States dollars, which to me is extremely strange. For somebody in the UK to be charging only in US currency and not using United Kingdom currency as well. So I don't understand that one. I just found that a very interesting part of my research. He has his own website. It is Narc site. I have to pull up the exact name. I'll put it in the chat. You are more than welcome to go look at any of this information for yourself. I got all this off of HG Tutor's Facebook. He has 2 Facebooks, actually, not just one. And one of them is his one where he does content mostly on Meghan Markle. It is HG Tutor, Knowing the Narcissist Ultra. I'm going to put that in my chat really fast if you want to go look at that. Just the name is HG Tutor, Knowing the Narcissist Oh, the Ultra. And then he also has another one about psychology and psychopathy. And this one is a lot more dark with the information that is there. It is called Narcissism and Psychopathy with H.G. Tudor. Oh my goodness, did I just kick myself out? I think I kicked myself out. I'm back. Sorry. Let me get back in here. The other one is Narcissism and Psychopathy with H.G. Tudor. I probably misspelled that. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Good to go. Now I got two of me in here. How did I do that? I don't know how I did that. Can y'all hear me fine? Hello? Now I got two of me. I don't know how I did that. See, I hear an echo. You'll hear an echo? Ah, okay. Okay. So I don't think that YouTube is the place for a fake psychologist. And this happens to be the second fake psychologist that Maggie the Black Owl knows. She knows two fake psychologists out here in YouTube land. Two. Two. How do you know two fake psychologists? I don't understand that because Murph was moonlighting as a psychologist, trying to get people to open up to him and give them advice, which I am for you trying to help people with advice. I am all for that. But for me, I'm not a licensed psychiatrist. I'm not a licensed counselor. I do have training in mental health because of my profession as an educator. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you I do. I will listen to you and I will help you with your problems all you want with the limited I do. But I'm not going to come out here and pretend that I have credentials I don't have. But I just don't understand how Maggie knows two people, both from the UK, which is got about the population of my state, just Texas state. Not a whole lot of people in the grand scheme of things. You know, two people who are fake psychologists who are trying to give people advice and pretending they have these credentials that I have not seen any proof of. And the proof that we have all seen was faked. I don't get it. Maybe he does have some kind of license, some kind of counseling degree, some kind of certificate, some kind of something, but it's not posted anywhere. I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked and scoured for it. Can't find it. And that makes this behavior especially dangerous because this is unregulated, it's undocumented, and it's manipulative. And H.G. Tudor wrote books. In H.G. Tudor's books, he writes mostly some very dark literature. And his literature is mostly about stalking different women. I read them. I was shocked at what I read. I don't know if it is entirely truthful because a narcissistic psychopath would like to put other people's crimes in their own words as their own because that's just how they operate. But it is very dark, and these tone of these books includes stalking multiple women, and that really raised the alarm when I made this video back in April, my supernova one. That is what I had just finished reading those books, and I was like, okay, this we got to start getting this out that this person is doing this because I see this as very harmful. If somebody gets the wrong advice, if somebody gets the wrong opinion, and then something happens, we've already had a situation that was a some type, I'm not 100% sure, of a scam with Ada, with the situation that happened with her, where somebody possibly harmed themselves because of something on the internet and something they were told on YouTube. And we all remember that. I had a different role in part of that. I got iced out because I revealed that I knew it was a scam. And all of a sudden, I got iced out, even though I was helping this man and all these people out and was trying to help them with finding kids. I really was. I was trying to help get this petition they wanted to get out. I was going to help them, and they just iced me out, completely iced me out. And it's because I figured out the scam and I started calling it out, and they didn't like that. I was calling out the fact that people were being shadow banned before everybody else did because I was the first one to catch it and figure out exactly what was going on. And guess what? I think Murph and some of his friends are the ones that are doing that as well because it's the only thing that makes sense. Why would somebody hack into my computer and hack into my stuff? I'm a nobody. And I don't care. I really don't. I'm not after clicks. I'm not after views. I'm not after money. I'm just after exposing truth. Because I really am a nobody out here on YouTube. Who cares about me? But why would somebody hack into my phone to the point I have to call Apple to have them help me reset my phone? Why would somebody hack into my computer to the point I had to get antiviral stuff and come in and clean off my? I don't get it. And then they try to hack into my StreamYard, and I mean, it just is on and on and on and on and on. So what I'm starting to see is how we are trying to misdiagnose and mislead people, and we're trying to manipulate them when they're at their most vulnerable, because these are people who are coming to YouTube broken and hurt. They're seeing other people who are broken and hurt. They're wanting to help them. That's how I came in, wanting to talk to people who have been through similar situations as I have in the past and try to help them be able to deal with their past and move forward. And we're using vulnerable people to try to manipulate. And that's what I'm seeing. So, a little bit about me. I am a seasoned elementary teacher. I have taught for nearly 20 years. I am elementary teacher with experience in phonetics and in speech development. And in that, I have a very vocal memory. I remember things that people say. I remember things that I read. And I am able to kind of break down and figure out who's writing. Because at school, I get papers and kids' names aren't on it, and we have to figure out who it is by handwriting, by their writing structure. And then also, you can tell who people are by their speech. And it's almost like a fingerprint if you know how to analyze it correctly. And I was sitting here and listening, and I hadn't heard about HG Tutor until Murph disappeared. I was on this circuit for weeks. I was talking to them daily for weeks. I never heard about HG Tutor until Murph and his psychology license and all of that, the first part of March, and he disappeared. And then all of a sudden, HG Tutor is talking to Maggie, and I'm like, who is this person? I've not heard about this person at all. Now, yeah, he has his own YouTube channel. It's been going on the entire time, but I didn't know it. I had no clue. And immediately when I heard the voice, I'm like, that is Murph. I'm not the only one. People were saying it in the chat. People were saying it in comments after. People have said it on multiple different places that I have followed that that is Murph. But he couldn't prove it. So using my background, I decided, you know what? If I really wanted to prove this, could I do a vocal analysis and actually break this down and figure out if this is the same person? And it just got me curious. And I'm a science person. I'm a science teacher by trade as well. I teach, I've taught science for 12 years of my career. So I just decided, you know, I'm going to set me up a little experiment. And I collected a bunch of vocal clips from multiple things with Murph, with H.G. Tudor, and analyzing them. And I'm going to show you some of my research in just a few minutes of what I discovered, because it's a bomb. It just went, oh my gosh, how in the world? I can't believe this. Like, I cannot believe I actually have proof of what I have been saying, because you see, here's the results: the voice patterns, the delivery, the cadence, the way it's said, the way it's spoken, the language that's used, the written styles are all too similar to ignore. And we can't be 100% sure about anything when you do this kind of analysis. You really can't be 100% sure, but it is quite compelling to look at everything that I have found out. So let's see. H.G. Tudor was with Maggie on Zoom when she started. Yeah, see, he was with her on Zoom when she started, and then Murph came around and he disappeared. And I wasn't with Maggie when she started, so I can't attest to that at the beginning. Just going back and looking, I saw that he was there with her, and then he disappeared, and she didn't talk about him, talk to him, nothing the whole time with all the stuff that I followed. And then Murph disappeared, and H.G. Tudor comes back. That's just what I have observed. So here we go. Let me share my screen, and I'm going to share these results, because I am telling you, you have to see it to believe it. Let me figure out how I share these, because it's coming from a different spot on my computer. Here we go. Let me make sure you can see this. Perfect. All righty. So this is small. Let me zoom it in a little bit. I cannot see what you're saying in the chat while I'm on this screen, because I have to share my screen like this. So I can't see you. If you have a question, I will answer. I've got some friends, they might want to come up and talk after a while, and that is perfectly fine. But this is what I found out. I'm going to read it. I am going to post this where you can go and look at it yourself. If you would like a copy of this, or if you would like my data and you can rerun it for yourself, you are more than welcome. I will share my data. But here is my notes for this one. Here is my report. So I did a forensic voice comparison. I was suspecting that Murph is using AI to voice mask across different YouTube contents. You can see here, I did this on May 16th, 2025. It is prepared by myself. Here was my objective of this experiment. I wanted to determine whether multiple YouTube personas, such as Murph and H.G. Tudor, are in fact the same speaker. And I wanted to use digital voice analysis methods, including spectrograms, format comparisons, cadence analysis, and pitch examination. And I did this with several different samples. My samples, some of them are labeled letter samples. The letter samples come from where Murph himself was reading a letter that they wrote to the senators that they wanted to get out that I was going to help with. There is one that is called HG Samples. They are HG Shooter talking about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, just normal random days. There are some called Murph Samples. They are Murph himself speaking. And also, I wanted both speaking and reading because your voice changes depending on what you're doing sometimes. There are some called Mike Samples. They are with Murph speaking to Mike Cross at it's where I began on YouTube with Mike on Music Recording Network Live. And then I also have some that are HG Mini Brian. That just means they were shorter little sections. And they are from a conversation that HG Tutor had with another YouTuber named Brian. And it was the most recent one where he was speaking to somebody and it was not being read like a performance. And I wanted to know if they were in fact the same speaker. So the Murph samples were verified that they were Murph. They had a natural tone and they were conversational voice clips of him speaking. The letter samples were verified as Murph. They were scripted and more of a reading style narration or a presentation format. The HG samples, I don't know. They're uncertain origin. I don't know if I'm reading or not, but I mean, I do this stuff and I have notes and I'm reading off of them. It definitely sounds like on a majority of this stuff that he is. And they are possibly altered or processed using AI. And if you listen to HG Tutor's work, you will know it is AI because it is an out of the human range for tone. It's way deeper tone. It's not a human tone. And it suggests a dramatic drop in pitch. The Murph samples were natural conversation involving Mike and Murph. It was verified to be Murph. We know it was him. And the HG Brian samples were my last ones I put in. They were newly added clips at this time, suspected to be the same altered speaker, HG Tutor, in a natural conversation with a person named Brad. So the way I did my experiment, my methodology, I used two programs. I used one called Audacity. It's what I use to record voice. It gives me what's called a spectrogram, and it helps me with pitch. And then I don't know if you call this one Pratt or Prot, but it is another vocal tool I used. It helps you figure out formants and frequency analysis, and then you can look at the visuals and see how they overlay. I took 1 minute sample clips, and then I took random small clips from that 1 minute to analyze. The data points that were analyzed is the fundamental frequency, the basic frequency. Format patterns. A format is the way you form the sound in your vocal cords and in your speech system of your body. The way you are actually making each individual sound is called your format pattern. It's dependent on your vocal cords, on some of the sounds come through your nasal, through your nose, through your teeth, through your tongue, through your lips. All of those things formulate how the sound is going to come out. And that's what we teach kids at school, how to say these words or how to relate the phoneme or the sound with the grapheme, the letters. So this A says ah or says a, and how we know that. And then how you make that sound in your mouth and in your vocal cords. That would be your format. Spectral energy has to do with the changes in delivery, just the energy of your delivery. Voice cadence and rhythm, you can tell sometimes somebody's the same because they go da 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 da. And they have a similar cadence. And I noticed that immediately about Murph and HG Tutor. So did a lot of other people. And then pronunciation and prosody, which goes in also with accent and intonation. So all of these things blended together helps us get our analysis. So here is an example of what a graph looks like coming out of Audacity. This is a spectrogram, and it shows you different points. It shows you the decibels, the volume versus the hertz of the sound, the frequency. And what I noticed about Murph and HG Tutor is a lot of my graphs had the same similar points, the same similar peaks, the same similar valleys. That helps us know it is possibly the same person. And then this one right here comes from Prot. And this one shows us those formants, and it shows us right up here, this is pitch. And the graph, this basically is the information that is saved on a drive that tells whatever it is what is being said, kind of like a record player with it being burned. And then down on the bottom are the formants, and those circles show us where the sound is being made in the actual voice. And I have nearly 20 samples of these. So all of these were ran through the computer, and all of these were ran to see if we could find any similarities in pattern. That's what I was looking for, were similarities within the pattern. Okay. And what I started finding out is they were so much more similar than I could possibly imagine. Started putting all this in. I started running my data, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on to something here, because they started matching up. And I was just, I was in disbelief. So this is what I found out. This is how much they add up. Here's my analysis of them. For the frequency. Now, letter samples here, Murph samples, and Mike samples are verified Murph. HG samples and HG samples are verified from HG Tutor. Okay. When we look at the frequency, at the actual tone, we can definitely see that there is a drop in the HG samples of the frequency, but it's similar and it's consistent. Murph's samples are similar and are consistent. So they do show a drop in pitch, but that can be done with AI technology. The format frequencies, so the way the vowel sounds are created in the mouth, in the voice, in the throat, all the way across the board are consistent vowel types, same patterns visible, highly similar, matched Murph's structure, slight shifts but matches overall structure, strong overlap. The way that the sounds are formed while the person is speaking, strong overlap. Cadence and rhythm. We have structured with moderate pauses, identical patterning and phrasing, same rhythm structure, identical to Murph, echoes cadence of Murph. This is a match. Vowel articulation, which is a clear A, a clear I, E, and the sound, the schwa sound. Same articulation observed, consistent, consistent, consistent. It came up with a match. Spectral energy, strong upper harmonics, mild compression, darker tone, harmonic match, balanced energy, matches Murph, matches HG. This is consistent, but there is some type of expected pitch masking, because the pitch for HG Tutor is lower. And then when he likes to read, we can make our voice sound differently when we're talking. If you're an actor, you can make your voice change. My favorite actor with this is Hugh Lowry from House. If you watch House, MD, he was Dr. House. And if you listen to him on that, he sounds very American. If you listen to Hugh Lowry and he is in his natural environment, which is in the UK, he is very British and he has a very British accent. You can learn how to change your accent a little bit if you learn how to modify it. But some things still stay the same. And one of those things that stays the same a lot of times are these formants, how you're making the sounds as you're speaking. They stay the same. So we also have voice quality, which is your timbre. You can see all the way across the board, we have kind of a nasally sound and very breathy. Part of that is the accent. British English tends to be very, very nasal. They have the same tone and quality, slightly clearer, slightly nasal and consistent, breathier processed. We can tell that this is artificially darkened for HG Tutor, but it does match. And then accent and tone. We have a distinct British accent with unique stress patterns, and it is consistent all the way across the board, which tells us we have a match. So looking at our breakdown here, HG and HG Brian exhibit a uniform pitch drop of about 20 to 25 hertz compared to Murph. Despite this, the formant integrity remains consistent, indicating there is unchanged vocal tract resonance. This is consistent with pitch masking software rather than natural voice variation. So this is going through some type of a AI speaker program that is lowering the pitch, and it is scrubbing some of the sound to make it sound a little clearer. We do have some scrubbing that it picked up. Our cadence analysis, all of them show similar cadence with nearly identical micro timing in phrase breaks and emotional stress points, particularly in emotionally loaded conjunctions, as you see, and the truth is. These rhythmic markers are subconscious and statistically rare to replicate. They are subconscious and statistically rare to replicate unless it's the same person. With our formants, the way those sounds are formed, format 1 to format 3 plots across vowel types A, and I match within 4 to 8% deviation. Within 4 to 8% deviation. That means these results are 90-ish, 95-ish% correct. There's a slight deviation in there. And that is consistent with mild compression, digital modification, but that does not mean there are different speakers. Vowel mapping overlays demonstrate virtually indistinguishable articulatory positions, which means they match. And you have I can't say this word, prosodic fingerprint. This is a linguistic fingerprint. And we have stress and intonation curves. They remain within less than 5 hertz swing across all samples. The speaker consistently places rising and falling intonation arcs in the same syntax region, indicating there's a deeply embedded speech habit. So here is the breakdown. This is the part I could not believe. Now again, Murph, Mic Mini 2, Mic Mini 3, and letter samples are all verified Murph. So you can see, even though we know it was him, there is a little bit of a variance in the style of speaking, but it's very slight. Then we go to HG Tutor samples. They're a 91% match. 91% match. So what we can tell with our spectrogram overlays, those purple ones, they're identical in intensity lines, harmonic spacing with HG, showing a shifted bass and frequency. That's that pitch change that's just a little different. The formants, the sounds, Overlay plots show almost perfect alignments of formant tracks. That is near impossible unless it is the exact same person. Not speaker variability, it is consistent with compressed audio or mild processing. With vowel mapping, we have matching articularly space that confirms speaker identity. There is no shift in resonance chamber usage, and that indicates which indicates an identical vocal tract, which means it's coming from the same person. Cadence heat map, which is your timing, your rhythm. Highlighted peaks show consistent phrase breaks and rhythmic pacing. This pattern was replicated across all samples. So our forensic conclusion, this is a confidence level 90 to 95%. Now there is a chance that I am wrong in my theory, but my evidence overwhelmingly shows that these are both the same speakers. There is overwhelming biometric and acoustic evidence that supports the same speaker across all submitted samples. And there is a same forensic fingerprint, and it remains unchanged. And this was prepared by me. And again, if you would like this report, I can definitely hook you up with my report. I can give you all of my information. If you want to rerun and try for yourself, you can try for yourself as well. If you get a different thing than me, please let me know. We can add it all in and we can see where our differences are. But I tried to be very, very, very random in this because I wanted to have a good test. Not that I was trying to find my exact question and answer, but I wanted to have the test where there was very limited ways to have error. So I looked at this linguistic fingerprint and it showed a match across the board. And I also have seen similar usage in the way that Murph types and the way one of Maggie's mods types, answers questions, and says things. That person, I like to say Smurf quite a bit because that person is Danny. My theory is that Danny and somebody earlier said Clow Me was also the same person. I'm not sure on that one. But my analysis is Danny is Smurf is weaseled his way back into Maggie's good graces and is now one of her mods who has, if you look at all of her stuff, she actually posted, I'm not going to put it up here for her privacy because I think that's wrong. She posted a couple weeks back some graphs that he actually did a analysis on her. And she had graphs where he was showing what kind of an empath she was, which I just think is wild that this person has your personal information and data on a test that you didn't know who you were giving it to. And now they're using it to potentially manipulate you. And that to me is disturbing. Especially when it's somebody who is as close to you as we could tell Murph was. I don't know their relationship. I don't. That's for them, not for me. But you could tell they were kind of close to each other. And she keeps saying she doesn't think that I'm right. And she laughs at me whenever I say what I know. And maybe now she might actually look at what I think I know and what I do know. By the way, I did tell Murph all of this stuff in April. He had the chance to email me and say, "Nah, that's not me. Nah, you're not right." He had the chance. I told him back in April, I know. And yeah, never heard anything back because that's how a narcissist does it. We like to just cut you off. We just ain't going to talk to you no more because we don't like you no more. That's what they do. And then they try to delete your comments and they try to block you and they try to do all that crap. If you've dealt with any of these people, you know exactly what I'm saying. So, I don't know if anybody has any questions for me, if anybody would like to know anything else about what I have found out or not. I just wanted to kind of show you what I know. So, I also went and did a little bit of digging in H.G. Truder's website. And we'll show you just a couple more things that I found that I thought were interesting. Just show you how his site works. If you go to his website, you can pay him $100 US dollars. He is in the UK again. To go to Gumroad, he will send you some type of a common sense protocol and an empath detector questionnaire. Do not know what that would be. That's that screener I was talking about. I don't know what kind of test this even is. I'd be interesting to find out, but I'm not paying him to do it. There is an email here, different email than anything else. And you can see here, he'll analyze your information and provide you with your school or cadre of empath, the type you are, with an explanation within 96 hours of receipt, which a lot of people on his stuff say that they never get their testing, or it takes much longer than they say here to get the report, and to identify relevant elements applicable to your type of empath. That's the school is your type of empath that you would be based on your answers and information you provide. Where my professional commitments impact and or a high demand for consultations, this time period may be extended. And you do have to sign some type of a terms and conditions. He does have on his site that it is not for medical analysis, but I don't know how prevalent that is when you actually get down into it with him. I sure hope that he has his bases covered for legality, because it could get into legal issues if you do not have the certification to make the claims. And the material that is published, this is off of his site from his blog, is from the perception of a narcissistic sociopath. All comments, replies, and responses provided are purely from the same perspective. There is no warranty given or implied that the material provided published here is intended to act as therapeutic, psychological, or psychiatric advice, comment, or observations. So right here is his little bitty blurb about the legality. The material is provided to allow readers, or I guess the person he is evaluating, to understand the mind, the thoughts, the actions of a narcissistic sociopath. The author is providing insight and observations and comment based on experience as a narcissistic sociopath. Notice it does not say experience as a licensed psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, none of those, and undergoing his own private and personal treatment with regard to this condition. It's based on just his personal experience, I guess. The author does not accept any liability for the observations which are provided to readers and which are provided to readers at their own risk. So that's his little bitty blurb there, I guess, for legality. Again, I don't know about the terms and conditions because I did not sign up for this. Cash payment only. I think it was through PayPal. I may be wrong about that. Where is the option for insurance payment if this is a I know. And there's nothing on anything that shows he has any type of degree, certification, nothing. Even myself, I have mental health first aid. What I am certified for is if I came up on a person in mental health crisis, I can do a quick evaluation to figure out what is the best route for them to get treatment and to get help. So do we need to call the ER? Do we need to have them taken in immediately? Do they go to their counselor or their doctor or something? Looking at that, kind of like triage, if it's a triage situation with mental health. I'm trained with that with my school stuff. I do have certification for that. I do have a certificate that shows I have that certification. So that's just me. But I don't know. There's nothing on anything about Murph or Mr. H.G. Tudor on anything for his consultations on his website. And again, they are not in British pounds, it's in US dollars. I just find that quite interesting since he's from the UK. H.G. Tudor's from the UK. This is a major red flag. There is no verifiable license, no credentials, and no proof of actual psychological training with these individuals. Yet, people, often trauma survivors, are paying for what they believe is legitimate clinical insight. And that is disturbing to me. As somebody who has read his books, I've read 2 of them, I can confirm they're extremely dark. Don't read them if you have been stalked by somebody, because it might trigger you. Often describing obsessive control over women, stalking behaviors, and violent ideation dressed up as an analysis. This isn't education. It's a roadmap for psychological warfare. This is my opinion. This is my opinion after reading. Okay, just my opinion. And again, this is the second fake psychologist I have encountered on YouTube with trauma recovery communities. And that makes it very dangerous to me as well. Not only is he given potentially harmful and false advice under pseudoscientific guise, but he's manipulating emotionally vulnerable people for profit. I'll say that one more time because I like that little word. I like that phrase right there. Not only is he given potentially harmful, false advice under pseudoscientific guise, he is manipulating emotionally vulnerable people for profit. This is just my analysis. And let me see. What else do I have here? Oh, some ethics here, the legality behind it. It is potentially getting into criminal territory if you are trying to diagnose or do consultations unlicensed, especially when given in exchange for money. And this may violate consumer protection laws, fraud statutes, and or UK and US mental health licensing codes, depending on the jurisdiction. Even worse, when vulnerable individuals are guided, misdiagnosed, or pushed into fear-based responses under the influence of a narcissistic manipulator, it becomes emotional exploitation. So let me make this clear. This is not a case about mistaken identity. This is not an expose just trying to one out somebody. This is something that is a pattern. It is something of someone who is knowingly operating behind multiple identities, giving potentially harmful advice, mimicking the mannerisms of a public expert, controlling narratives across YouTube and in Discord, and silencing dissent and manipulating creators and mods behind the scenes. And this isn't just bad behavior, it's would be a case study of digital deception and one that should never have gotten to this point. And it wouldn't have come to light except for with the roadway, I guess, the way everything has gone on YouTube. And they keep opening the door. They keep talking about these people and they keep laughing, thinking that we're stupid and I'm crazy. I've just been laughed at the crazy troll. I'm the pink sparkle troll because they want to label me a troll. So I'm just going to embrace it. They're going to give me a lot of hate after this video. I'm going to get a lot of hate. I'm prepared for that. I know some of these individuals have been threatening people. Some of the people that I have been consulting with behind the scenes, some of my friends I've made on YouTube have been threatened by some of these individuals. I have a 6'9" giant in there that knows about all of this, and yeah, he'll take care of you if you want to come here. But yeah, it's crazy. We have to get down to that level where we are threatening people from the other side of the world, which is weird. I don't know how you can do all that much to me in my little corner of the world when you're in your little corner of the world, but whatever. So, just a little bit of wrap up here. It is my firm belief that Murph is pretending still to be a licensed psychologist and or is charging for professional psychological services without proper credentials. And I sure hope people who have some different resources to investigate this might investigate this further. He could be guilty of fraud, misrepresentation for personal gain, consumer deception, or unlicensed practices of psychology, both under UK and US regulations. In the UK, giving therapy or medical advice without proper qualifications can violate Health and Care Professions Council HCPC rules. Claiming to be a psychologist without registration is illegal under Health Professions Order 2001. In the US and everywhere and elsewhere, even though he's in the UK, if he markets to US clients, he can be held liable under the Federal Trade Commission Act, which prohibits deceptive marketing, individual state laws that bar the unauthorized practice of psychology without a license, and wire fraud laws, especially if money is exchanged digitally. So yeah, just because you're in a different country, it does not make your crimes legal, even though you have been getting away with them for a while. It's still not legal, and it is enforceable with law enforcement. So that's just what I know. I was just ready to get out what I know and to get this off my chest. Like I said, this isn't about exposing one person or one person's lives. It is about safeguarding those who seek help and truth in online spaces. When somebody falsely claims psychological expertise, it is a real risk for emotional and psychological damage to already vulnerable people. By shining a light on this deception, I hope to empower others to recognize manipulation and demand integrity. And I thank you very much for listening, for supporting to this important conversation. And hopefully together we can stand against deceit and help protect our online communities. That is just my goal with this. And yeah, I just had to share. If anybody would like to come up and ask any questions, would like to come up and talk, I've got just a couple more minutes before I wrap up. So anybody who wants to come up, you are more than welcome.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
I just found Smurf stuff just because I think it's funny.
You got me jumping like. You got me jumping like. You got.
So just a little bit for fun there. If nobody has any questions or if you have anything that you want to ask me, my email is unapologeticallyrisa@gmail.com. I will post that down in my chat. Unapologeticallyrisa@gmail.com. If if you would like to email me, I will send you a report if you would like a copy of my report. I can send you my data if you would like a copy of the data to run as your own independent verified. You can re-verify my results. And with that, I will say adieu, adios, hasta la vista. I will see you later, my friends, somewhere out in the YouTube verse. Everybody have an awesome day, evening, night, because wherever you are, we're all doing one of the three. For me, it is midnight. I am tired and I'm going to go to sleep. We have some different people who are doing things. I know Nick has something in the morning about our same particular person, I believe. So you can listen to Nick with Nick's Mountain Goats and see what she has to add of her information. I think it's really interesting because we all have different relationships with the same people in different ways, and we all have different takeaways from what we have encountered and experienced out here with the same people. And I just had a little bit of a different relationship with some of these people and got to know them in a little bit of a different way and have been vocal about what I have been noticing. And I'm telling you, I'm going to get hate, but I don't care. I really don't care because I'm tired. So, with that one, I was going to change this because I thought this was funny. Here, look what. Boom. With that, you guys have a great day.